For a brief moment, Hollywood's greatest living legend was gone. Paramedics revived him, but something had changed forever. At 84, the man who once ruled cinema now led a life no one could have predicted. Once wealthy and powerful, he was now broke after losing $50 million, forced into roles he despised just to stay afloat. He also became a father again at the age of 83 to a child with a woman young enough to be his granddaughter. From paternity scandals to his dark thoughts on death, this is the story of how Al Pacino, once Hollywood's king, became its loneliest man. Born on April 25, 1940, in East Harlem, New York, Alfredo James Pacino grew up in poverty. His Sicilian immigrant parents divorced when he was 2, and his father moved to California, leaving his mother to raise him in the South Bronx with the help of his grandparents. Despite their struggles, his mother introduced him to cinema, sparking his passion for acting. However, Pacino was a rebellious child. By the age of 9, he was smoking, and by 13, he was drinking. He skipped school, got into fights, and experimented with drugs. After being expelled from multiple schools, he briefly attended the High School of Performing Arts but dropped out at 17 following a heated argument with his mother. With no diploma and no clear direction, he drifted through life, losing several close friends to drug overdoses. The only thing that kept him from the same fate was his love for acting. In 1962, at the age of 22, Pacino faced his greatest loss when his mother died suddenly at 43. A year later, his grandfather, who had been like a father to him, also passed away. Devastated by these losses, Pacino threw himself into acting with an obsessive drive. To afford lessons, he worked as a janitor, busboy, and postal clerk, often sleeping on friends' couches or even on the streets. His breakthrough came in 1968 when he starred in The Indian Wants the Bronx, playing a violent troublemaker. His performance won him an Obie Award and caught the attention of Hollywood. More importantly, it attracted Martin Bregman, who saw Pacino's star potential and became his manager. Bregman secured him roles in The Godfather, Serpico, and Dog Day Afternoon, films that would define his legacy. In 1969, Pacino made his Broadway debut in Does a Tiger Wear a Necktie, playing a troubled young addict. Though the play ran for only 39 performances, his performance was electrifying, earning him a Tony Award for Best Featured Actor. This moment validated his years of struggle and confirmed that he was destined for greatness. Despite this early recognition, Pacino's life would take unpredictable turns in the years to come. Despite his growing success, Hollywood still saw Al Pacino as a nobody when Francis Ford Coppola cast him in The Godfather. Paramount executives resisted, preferring established stars like Jack Nicholson, Warren Beatty, and Robert Redford. They believed Pacino was too short, too unknown, and too much of a risk. Even after filming began, doubts remained, and the studio wanted him fired. In response, Coppola decided to film the pivotal restaurant assassination scene early, the moment when Michael Corleone transforms into a ruthless mafia boss. When the executives saw the scene, they realized Pacino wasn't just good, he was unforgettable. From that moment, his place in the film was secure. The Godfather became a cinematic masterpiece, grossing over $250 million against a $6 million budget and winning Best Picture at the Oscars. Pacino's chilling, understated performance, his ability to command the screen with a single glance, became legendary. His portrayal of Michael Corleone earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor, but Pacino boycotted the Oscars in protest, believing he should have been nominated for Best Actor. Though he didn't win, it no longer mattered. The world had already recognized that Al Pacino wasn't just a great actor, he was on his way to becoming a legend. Filming The Godfather was an overwhelming experience for Pacino, with constant fears of being fired. When he severely injured his ankle during a getaway scene, his first thought wasn't about the pain, it was a sense of relief that he might be let go. Director Francis Ford Coppola, recognizing Pacino's struggles, adjusted the shooting schedule and leaned on Diane Keaton to help lighten the mood. Pacino later credited Coppola's unwavering support as a key factor in getting him through the film. In 1973, Pacino took on the role of Frank Serpico, an NYPD officer who exposed corruption. He fully immersed himself in the real-life Serpico's world, capturing his isolation and determination. Despite a chaotic production, with a last-minute director change and the intense heat of a New York summer, the film became a crime classic. It earned Pacino an Academy Award nomination and a Golden Globe win. In 1983, Pacino transformed into Tony Montana, the ruthless drug kingpin in Scarface. He meticulously crafted the character, but the role came at a significant cost. Pacino suffered a severe burn on set, and the film faced backlash for its extreme violence, sparking protests from Miami's Cuban community. Despite the controversies, the film cemented Pacino's place in Hollywood history and remains an iconic part of his career. However, Scarface eventually found its audience, grossing $66 million worldwide and becoming a cult classic over time. It influenced various aspects of pop culture, including hip-hop and gaming, and sparked debates on whether it was a cautionary tale or an anthem for excess. Despite the controversy surrounding its release, including criticism from some critics who walked out of screenings and protests over its portrayal of Cuban immigrants, the film grossed $134 million worldwide. It cemented Pacino's place in cinematic history. Tony Montana became an enduring symbol of ambition and defiance, continuing to fuel debates over whether Scarface was a warning or a glorification of excess. Regardless, its cultural impact remains undeniable. In 1992, Pacino took on the role of Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade, a blind, bitter Army veteran in Scent of a Woman. To prepare for the role, he wore opaque contact lenses and used a cane. His deeply emotional performance, highlighted by the iconic tango scene, earned him his first Academy Award for Best Actor. Scarface had sparked controversy upon its release, but Scent of a Woman marked a new chapter in Pacino's career, showcasing his ability to tackle diverse, complex roles. In recent years, Pacino continued to explore complex characters, such as in the 2018 HBO film Paterno, where he portrayed Joe Paterno, the legendary Penn State football coach caught in the aftermath of the child abuse scandal. The film focused on the 2-week period in 2011 when Paterno's legacy crumbled after his former assistant, Jerry Sandusky, was arrested for abusing young boys. Pacino's powerful performance highlighted the internal struggle of a man torn between his football empire and a scandal he couldn't ignore. The film depicted how Paterno was informed of Sandusky's misconduct in 2001 but failed to act, a decision that ultimately overshadowed his entire career. Critics praised Pacino's nuanced portrayal, but the film divided audiences. Some saw Paterno as complicit, while others believed he was unfairly blamed. Just months after being fired from Penn State, Paterno died of lung cancer, leaving behind a complicated legacy that the film refused to simplify. Pacino also portrayed another controversial real-life figure in Phil Spector, a film about the legendary music producer accused of murdering actress Lana Clarkson in 2003. The movie was not a courtroom drama but a psychological study of a man unraveling under public scrutiny. Pacino's performance as the eccentric and troubled Spector further cemented his ability to bring depth and complexity to even the most contentious roles. Pacino embodied Spector's eccentricity, paranoia, and arrogance, leaving audiences conflicted. Was he a misunderstood genius or a violent narcissist? The film raised more questions than it answered, much like the real-life case that had captivated the world. While playing characters whose lives were crumbling, Pacino faced his own personal financial nightmare. In 2011, he discovered that his longtime accountant, Kenneth Starr, had stolen $50 million from him through a Ponzi scheme. The same man Pacino had trusted with his fortune had been siphoning millions from Hollywood's elite before being caught and sentenced to 7 years in prison. Pacino, returning from an extravagant vacation, was blindsided by this betrayal. To recover financially, he took on unexpected projects, including Jack and Jill, a film he later admitted he did purely for the paycheck. He also appeared in commercials and took speaking engagements to rebuild his finances. Reflecting on the ordeal, Pacino acknowledged that even at the top of Hollywood, no one is immune to loss and deception. Beyond acting, Pacino had always been fascinated by storytelling, not just performing, but understanding the craft, breaking it down, and sharing it with others. This drive led him behind the camera. His first major project as a director was Looking for Richard, 1996, an unconventional mix of documentary, performance, and personal journey. Pacino set out to prove one thing: Shakespeare still matters. He chose Richard III, a play about power and ambition, and brought together an impressive cast that included Alec Baldwin, Winona Ryder, and Kevin Spacey. But Looking for Richard wasn't just about acting, it explored Shakespeare's relevance in modern times, blending dramatized scenes with interviews from scholars and actors like Kenneth Branagh and Vanessa Redgrave. The result was a film that made Shakespeare feel fresh, accessible, and even thrilling. It won the Directors Guild of America Award for Outstanding Directorial Achievement in a Documentary in 1997. Critics praised it for turning Shakespeare into something alive. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone called it a great adventure and outrageous fun. For Pacino, it wasn't just about making a film, it was about proving that even after centuries, Shakespeare's words still had the power to shake the world. In 2000, Pacino directed Chinese Coffee, a quiet, dialogue-driven film adapted from a play he had performed on stage in 1992. The story follows a struggling writer, played by Pacino, and a photographer, Jerry Orbach, as they engage in an intense conversation over the course of a single night in 1982 Greenwich Village. The film premiered at the Telluride and Tribeca film festivals but never reached a wide audience. It gained recognition in 2007 when it was released as part of Pacino, An Actor's Vision, a collection showcasing his lesser-known works. Since 2000, Pacino has continued to explore projects that push the boundaries of both his acting and directing, cementing his legacy as a multifaceted artist in the entertainment industry. Al Pacino became a prominent figure at the Actors Studio, alongside Ellen Burstyn and Harvey Keitel. The studio, which had trained Hollywood legends like James Dean and Marilyn Monroe, was instrumental in Pacino's own development as an actor under the guidance of Lee Strasberg. Now, as a mentor to aspiring actors, Pacino encourages them to study philosophy, literature, and life itself to deepen their craft. Despite high-profile relationships with Diane Keaton, Beverly D'Angelo, and Kathleen Quinlan, Pacino never married. In his 2024 memoir Sonny Boy, he explained that he never saw marriage as beneficial, describing it as an entrance to the pain train. His relationship with Keaton ended in 1990 when he refused to commit, and his romance with Quinlan, whom he considered marrying, ultimately fell apart. In June 2023, at 83, Pacino welcomed his fourth child, Roman, with 29-year-old Noor Al-Fala. Initially skeptical, Pacino requested a paternity test, which confirmed he was the father. Pacino already had 3 children, Julie Marie, born in 1989 with acting coach Jan Tarrant, and twins Anton James and Olivia Rose, born in 2001 with Beverly D'Angelo. Pacino's own father abandoned him as a child, and he was determined not to repeat that cycle. Even after separating from Al-Fala, he remained involved in Roman's life. At 84, Pacino continues to act, having starred in House of Gucci, 2021, and with several upcoming films, including Modi, directed by Johnny Depp about artist Amedeo Modigliani, The Ritual, a horror film based on real exorcisms releasing April 18, 2025, Billy Knight, and Killing Castro. His dedication to storytelling remains unwavering. A near-death experience in 2020 changed Pacino's outlook on life. After losing his pulse and needing to be revived by paramedics, Pacino developed a new perspective on existence. He now firmly believes that there is no afterlife. Throughout his life, Pacino has never followed tradition. He never married, never settled, and never stopped pushing boundaries, whether on screen or off. His relentless search for meaning, both in his work and personal life, has created a legacy that cements him as one of Hollywood's greatest storytellers.